Lieutenant Don Meredith, a 35-year veteran of the Glendale Police Department, has devoted the majority of his life to serving the community through his dedication to law enforcement. Police officers often join the force in hopes of having a positive influence on society, but with all the crime and negativity that they encounter, their efforts often feel like they are in vain. Their attempts to make a positive difference are often unappreciated, and their presence can be ill-received. This often weighs heavy on their shoulders because it feels as if they are risking their lives without any gratitude or appreciation.
You come to this job with a certain personality and a certain outlook. Once you get out and you work with people and you see bad people, you see hurting people, people that need help, the good people, it probably does change your impression on life a little bit.
Despite working long hours and being exposed to the darker side of society, he's been able to open his heart and his home to a cause that he believes in, placing Huskies into a loving home. His dedication to the community goes beyond helping people solve their issues and problems. He is also committed to rescuing Huskies and other animals who would otherwise suffer a grim fate.
If my dad hadn't come into these dogs' lives, they would probably either be in a pound or they could be dead. You know, a lot of dogs are, I think they're called red listed or red tagged, and after a certain amount of time in a shelter, unless they're rescued by a rescue group or a person, then they get put down, and that's just so sad because these are great dogs.
Lieutenant Meredith has developed a relationship with local animal shelters and Husky rescues who call him when there is a dog having trouble being placed in a home. Instead of allowing the dog to be humanely euthanized or to remain in a shelter for an extended period of time, he goes above and beyond to find the animal a loving home. Oftentimes, he acts as a foster parent for the dog until he is able to find it a suitable owner.
Yes, quite frequently I will take on additional Huskies while I'm trying to find a good home for it. Most of the time, the Huskies I rescue, if I'm not keeping for myself, they're going to friends of mine who I know would be good Husky owners because of the unique nature of a Husky.
His dedication to rescuing these animals began when he fostered a Husky for a suspect who was being arrested. Being that he had Huskies of his own, he felt moved by the woman's dedication to her pets and companions, and he promised to take care of them while she was in jail.
I became involved in rescuing Huskies when two of my officers were making an arrest for some minor traffic violations of an actress who had fallen on hard times. At one time, she'd been kind of a prominent actress performing in movies such as Smokey and the Bandit, and she was living out of her car at this point with these two Huskies. So when she was being taken into custody, she really worried about what would happen to the Huskies. I assured her that the Huskies would be taken care of, and when she got out of custody, we'd return the Huskies to her. As a result of that, I got to talking with her when I gave her Huskies back and became very interested in rescuing the Huskies because I could see a need to help Huskies out, and having had a Husky at a prior time, there was a direct correlation between the two. And ultimately, I rescued one Husky, and one became two, and two became a dozen.
Lieutenant Meredith recently helped find a home for two Huskies whose owners were veterans of the war in Iraq.
And it's a tragic story. Their master, the male master, was killed in action in the Iraqi war. He was a U.S. Army serviceman. His wife, also served in the U.S. Army, had been injured in an accident. And neither one, well, obviously he passed, but they were not capable of taking care of the Huskies, and they didn't know what to do with them. So those came to my attention. I talked to my friend and said, are these the Huskies that would be compatible? And she said, well, let's go see. So we brought them down to the San Dimas area where she interacted with both Huskies, and it was a two-deal. You take both dogs, or you don't know dog, if you had to take both. And she took both dogs, and she has both dogs, and she still has them.
I mean, they're doing great, you know, but if they hadn't given them to Husky Camp or the Husky Rescue, and if my dad and Teresa hadn't found them, you know, who knows where they'd be, but they are a hoot. They are the funniest dogs.
I think I do have more compassion for animals than I do people. Probably because animals cannot necessarily take care of themselves, or people can make their own decisions. Animals sometimes be more at risk than a person who can think through a process. Animals are out exploring. We wander across the street where people may know to stop and not wander. And I think I'm probably more compassionate with animals because I see animals get mistreated a lot more than people get mistreated because they can't necessarily take care of themselves. They're easy prey for some of the mean-spirited people out there.
Lieutenant Don Meredith is a tough guy whose exterior has been hardened by the less than positive experiences that he's had while on the job. He has devoted 35 years of his life to his career and to serving the community, but he has also made it a point to look beyond himself and help animals during his personal time.